Hello everyone, my name is Michael Hunter and thank you for joining today on the Monster Collectibles After Hours, number 8. Hopefully everything goes according to plan. Any feedback or anything afterwards, highly appreciated. This is the first time I'm going by myself. If anyone does recognize me, I have done the odd Tournament of Doom casting. Not as trying to be a promotion, but just in case someone's like, oh, I might have seen this guy before, or I have been on stream for official Pokemon events in the past. So today, meta-wise, nothing new. Dragapult being number 1. Number 2, Mega Greninja showing up at 10.5. We do have some others showing up and around, and then we do have everyone's favourite spoon Pokemon, Alakazam, followed up by Beedrill, Lucario, Rocket's Mewtwo, and Garchomp. So we're currently just waiting for some people to join into the chat, but in the Discord, to share their screen. One moment. So I have the first game coming up. We have Dragapult, nothing new. We're going to be showing it at some stage. I'll just share the screen now in one moment. There we go. We should be able to see it. Perfect. Okay, so we see off here where Dragapult is going first. Now they do have a handheld fan, which is very interesting. Oh, we have the Gourgeist package also. Okay, interesting. So we see the Ultra Ball here getting out the Shuppet, just with a lone Retreepy, and it's going to be a pass. We see that also there is a Zoroark, that's what they're against. So probably a little bit favored for the Zoroark player. The fact that statistically they are a little bit favored, especially if they do have the Reshiram. Or, yes, if they have the Reshiram. Now there is also the Zekrom where they can go with the Binding Mochi and to do extra damage if they're poisoned because of the Petron EX. In combination with a Munkidori getting to Oko a Dragapult, which isn't as fun as at times, but it can happen. And we see a Cyrano here grabbing 2 Zoroarks and a Petch. No energy, okay, a little bit unfortunate, so we do see a pass here back over Dragapult. I assume here will probably just be the attachment and then Lilies. You're going to see a very nice set of 8 cards because the opponent, or because the player is on 6 prizes. Seeing their free retreat because of Latias, very nice. Dracloak here getting to see 2 cards, putting 1 into hand, 1 on the bottom, and we do see a Zerosic being taken. Very interesting list. Again, Ultra Ball getting to discard 2 cards, grab any Pokemon that they want. Ultra Ball once again, getting just to find another Pokemon, and we see the Banette being grabbed here. Okay, so from taking a look at the list here, just waiting for it to load up. It isn't actually Dragapult, it is just a pure Gourgeist with a 2/2 Dracloak here as a draw engine. Very interesting to see. So the Gourgeist getting to do 30 plus 50 for each bench Pokemon that has any damage counters on it. Or for 2 Psychic, getting to do 140, and discarding a random card from the opponent's hand. So I guess making sense then in combination with the 06, just getting to control the hand. It's fair enough, you know, why not? Especially with a lot of Alakazams recently running around, controlling the hand does sound fun. And then the Banette getting to, again, synergize very well with the Xerosic, where you can choose 3 cards from the opponent's hand and shuffle those cards into the deck. So Xerosic, and then doing Banette, the opponent having no hand, that is pretty funny. And then we see 2 handheld fans here. We do see 3 years, which is pretty nice to have. A red card, very good card from the new set. Basically getting to set the opponent's hand down to 3 once the opponent is on 3 or less prizes. Very nice. Now from the Zoroark side, I assume it's going to be a pretty standard list. Just getting to see whether they have the Reshiram or not. That's the big question. Or no, they do see the Reshiram here. Very nice. And also they do have a 1-1 Lopunny. Very interesting. And then the 2 Binding Mochi, nothing new. We see 3 PP up rather than 4. Okay, interesting. But I guess since they have a lot of other additional tech cards, they have to cut the consistency somewhere in order to make it work. Now, I do believe some lists have also been dropping down to 3, so I guess, you know, that makes sense. Just getting to make sure that they get to play the game, which that is the most important thing. But we haven't seen any ends PP up here yet at the moment. Speaking of the devil, there's the first one. Very nice. So we'll get to see now if they get to attack. But it will be very interesting to see what happens. Especially the fact that the Zoroark player can hit both the Latias for weakness and the Gourgeist for weakness. So the Reshiram here will be putting in a lot of work. But we do see the Zekrom here, so very understandable. Zekrom basically just saying that, okay, now you have to use Petulant every turn. Which I guess is fine, because then you'll have the Poison Ticks. So then if they can get a Munkidori out with the Darkness, that would be very good, just to manipulate the board. Making our life a little bit easier. So the promotion of the Latias here. Now they do have Unfair Stamp and a Telepathic Energy, so they are good to go here. They can do what they want. We're seeing a Recon, no, are we? Yeah, very good. Thinning out the deck first with the Telepathic Energy. Grabbing one of each of the Pumpkaboo and the Shuppet. And then we will see the Unfair Stamp. Fair enough, an attack was just or a knockout just happened. So the person that played Unfair Stamp gets 5 cards and the opponent gets 2. We see Recon Directive, probably going to take Pokepad. I see the Meowth instead. I was wondering because they might just wait and then have the Banette ready to go for next turn. I did also think that they had a supporter in hand, so then Meowth isn't as important, but obviously since they have nothing, they are going to take Meowth instead, which makes sense. Benji, now the Watchtower here is interesting, since they know that the opponent plays End's Castle as the supporter of choice, and there's not much that the Watchtower would do. Because also now they do have a Meowth, so I guess there is some merit to it, but I guess it just makes more sense to potentially just wait. Discarding a Dark Energy here now, that is pretty good. So now let's see, the opponent has 3 trades to work here. Getting to discard 3 cards and drawing 6. Discarding 1 and drawing 2 for each one used, which does sound nice. So the first trade, getting rid of the Mochi. Fair enough, it's probably not going to be needed at all in this matchup. Again, the Lopunny makes sense. Basically just treating it as a little game of risk assessment. What's the most useless cards in in the hand? What can I afford to get rid of? Now, Pokegear seeing the boss, that is very nice. If they're not able to knock out the active, they could later on just go for a Meowth or the Latias. So we do see the attachment for turn. And one last trade. Can we get something good to help play with the turn? Or will it just be a pass from the Zoroark player? The one annoying thing is, though, that if the opponent... Oh, they can attack! Okay, they must have done the copying of the Shred attack. Because I thought they weren't able to attack. Never mind. So then going down to 3. So promotion to the Latias again makes sense. It has free retreat because of Skyliner. Seeing the Pokepad being taken off here from the recon. Having a look at the hand here, getting to decide what to do. Not looking as good, but we do see the Pokepad, so we can get off a Banette here. Basically just saying, oh, okay, go back down to 3 cards. So again, retreating into Banette. Having the Zoroark player to decide what 3 cards to remove. Okay, so now this time that the opponent has Night Jokered and used the second attack, that they cannot attack this turn without having to use Petron. And we do see the energy being attached, so we will be seeing another attack here. I'd be very shocked if the opponent got rid of the boss when shuffling cards into the deck. I assume that's one of the cards that they kept, so that next turn they can then just go Petron Retreat because of Petron's ability. But we do see a trade getting rid of the boss, which is very interesting. I guess just deciding what to do next, because we do have one more trade available before probably using Petron's ability to bring the other Zoroark with energy to the active, and then taking a knockout again with the Zekrom. Discarding the Pokegear again, so very, very interesting that what the Zoroark player is deciding to keep over these cards. I'm just going to see a retreat instead of the Petron. Okay, very interesting. Instead of using the Petron. And then, no surprise here, we did see a boss get discarded earlier on with a trade, so they most likely have a second one, to which we are seeing them play it right now. Then seeing an energy being brought back with Night Stretcher, so they can attach next turn and potentially have an ends PP up in order to go in combination and knock out and take the final prize for the game. Very, very tough spot here now for the Banette player. Dracula Kira getting to see a boss, very nice. But it does look like that, unfortunately, the writing's on the wall here for the Bennett player. I do see a red card being played, so potentially now will the Zoroark player get punished for a turn, since they chose to manually retreat over using Petron's ability. And then very good here, we do see the boss bringing up Petron, and the card's going back into the bottom. So I do believe that because Petron is in the active, the ability won't allow it to switch with itself. Meaning that the Zoroark player will need to draw an energy off of these 3 trades. And potentially a supporter. Oh, they are allowed to use it. So it must just be that it's only if it's in the bench that it can't switch with itself. Okay. But yeah, we do see Night Joker here, once again copying the Zekrom. Okay, and with that, we'll be back for the next round momentarily. So once again, we have up HM on the Benesh Pult up against Lopunny Dunsparce. So the Lopunny Dunsparce, we do see that it's basically a standard-ish list. The only difference is that they do have 2 Cornerstone Ogerpon. And they have 2 Rocky Helmet, or 2 Rocky Fighting Energy. Basically just saying that, okay, it's similar for Mist Energy, where effects of opponents' attacks don't go through, but it only works on fighting Pokemon instead. So we do see here that Banette is going first, getting to use some good old Buddy Buddy Poffins, getting to search your deck for 2 Pokemon that are 70 HP or less, and getting them from the deck and putting them on the bench. Unfortunately, or no, we do see an energy attached onto the Pumpkin, but that's very good. We do love to see that. Because that is the most important thing at the moment, is basically getting energy turn 1. A lot of Pokemon at the moment, they're needing 2 energy, or if you have a bad starter, meaning that's something that you don't want to start in the active, that basically you might need energy then to retreat that so that you can start attacking turn 2. So it can be tough at times, but we do see an energy here onto the Pumpkin Boost. That's very good. Now here once again we see Lily's Determination, getting to shuffle and draw 8 because the opponent's on 6 prizes. And getting to see a Mist and an Air Balloon onto the Baneri, getting ready for Mega Lopunny next turn. Very similar to the old Gliscod GX, where if it comes into the active that turn, you get to do additional damage. So if it comes into the active, it gets to do 230 for 1 energy, which is insane. Think of the value there now, you're doing a lot. And then the second attack doing 160, and you get to do Shred, meaning that, just as I said there earlier, with the Rocky Fighting Energy or Mist Energy, it basically just says, oh, you have something that prevents effects, well, I go through all that. Doesn't matter. You can have an ability that says you prevent all damage from EXs like that Crustle has, but it doesn't matter. I say no, I'm going through you. So we see some Recon Directives, we see some Pokepads getting some more Draclofs to see some more Recon Directives, because seeing some cards is good. People do get to play the game more often when they get to see more cards, so that does help. Just thinking here of what they want to see. They see the Psychic, they take that. Fair enough. So see the Ultra Ball here getting rid of that Psychic that they just grabbed and a Telepathic Energy for good old Gourgeist here, getting to swing for 140 and discarding a random card. Will be very interesting to see. And they get rid of a boss. Ooh, it's a very good hit. So now we see here from the Lopunny side. They did promote a Dunsparce, so they probably do have a Dunsparce, which we are seeing here, so they get to do Runaway Draw. Getting to shuffle themselves in after drawing 3 cards. So it is a very good engine to have. And we see Hilda grabbing the Lopunny and the Spiky Energy. And we do get to see Lopunny coming into the active, so we will get to see 230 damage being put onto this Gourgeist. It does hurt. Signing up here for a 2-hit KO. Meanwhile, having the Dunsparce on the bench here being set up, so that it could potentially be used next turn, or it could be used this turn. Especially if the opponent has more than 1 card in hand they want to keep. And just saying, okay, I want to increase the odds of you not discarding cards that I want. And we do see a spiky energy being attached here, so basically getting to put 2 damage counters onto the defending Pokemon if that Pokemon attacked. So if the Gourgeist here hits for 140, it will take 20 in return. And we do see the handheld fan here being put on. Basically just saying that if this Pokemon is hit, they get to move an energy of their choice onto one of the opponent's benched Pokemon. So they very easily could here just be moving the Mist. They could also move the Spiky energy. I assume that the Spike energy would be moved. Does make sense. Because especially since the effects that both Gourgeist and Banette are doing is basically based on the player, not the Pokemon. So it would go through. Now here we get to see some recon directives. They do have the Watchtower, so it will be interesting if they take it, and they do. It makes sense, because especially since they have an Ultra Ball already in hand. We see the second recon directive, seeing a Petrol and a Gear. Taking the Petrol, fair enough. Guaranteeing a supporter over Gambling next turn. I do see a Petrol grab here, fair enough. Taking the Wondrous Patch, so getting to get a basic Psychic Energy from the discard and put it onto one of your Psychic Pokemon. So now they could swing again because of Skyliner with Latias and just hit the active for 140. Just slowly whittling away at this Megalopony here. But we do have 4 Wally's Compassion in here and 3 Pokegears. But we do see Wally's Compassion, speak of the devil, is after being discarded here. And we do see 3 discarded already. Okay, this is very good for the Banette player. Wally's Compassion basically just saying that if a Mega Pokemon has damage, you can heal this and all energy comes back to hand. So, especially that since Megalopony's first attack costs 1 energy, it's very big. It's a big benefit. And especially being down to just 1 left, this will become very interesting now. That basically the Banette player could just wait. Or sorry, the Lopunny player could just wait until the Banette player knocks out the first Mega. And then next turn, once the second Megalopony has been hit, use the final one. The final Wally's Compassion there to take a knockout. To save it from being a knockout, sorry. But here we do see Psychic Energy with the Recon. This does make sense though. They're slowly going to try and push energy onto the Dunsparce. And since the Watchtower is in play, basically just saying, oh okay, you can't use Runaway Draw now. These are stuck on it. I'm going to force you to attack. Now I do see an Ultra Ball here, grabbing the Gorgeist. And then we probably will be seeing the Lily just getting to set up. And it makes sense not to use the red card, because especially since we saw from the opponent last turn not doing much. And we do see Wonders Patch again. This is very nice to see. Getting to put a lot of pressure here now onto the Lopunny player. So once again, getting to hit for 140. And what will they be discarding? An air balloon. Okay, so not that bad. Just once again having a quick look here. Now we do, as I was saying before, so we do see that both of the battle cages have been discarded. So this Watchtower will be staying down for the rest of the game. So very interesting to see that the Lopunny player put down a Dunsparce here. That is now stuck for the rest of the game. Because especially now, if there is an energy in the opponent's hand, that will be discarded. Very interesting to see that the splitting of energy, I guess just trying to make it easier, or sorry, trying to make it tougher for the Dunsparce to eventually attack. Because there is only 10 energy. So it is possible that the Banette player does lock out the opponent's energy. I've been saying Banette this entire time. I mean the Gorgeist. It's Banette Gorgeist. Like it's a combination of both. Very, very unique take on a rogue archetype. And then once again doing the usual 140. This time for a knockout, which you do love to see it. Going to take a Zerosic there, very nice. And a Lily. The Watchtower, we all know that it's basically the supporter or the stadium stays. So prize card's a prize card. It is free fodder for the Ultra Ball. Now, it will be interesting to see here that in the meantime, if the Dunsparce or the Lopunny player basically just keeps draw passing, and from the Gorgeist player's side, that if they slowly set up another Banette and just goes for the handoff. But I guess with 9 cards left in deck, they probably do just have to hope and go aggressive, which does make sense because I do believe there is 2 bosses in hand. So it does just make sense to keep going. So just passing, but we do see that there is going to be the boss to take out a knockout here on any of the basics that are on the bench. And we'll be seeing a win from the Gorgeist player. So we currently have about 13 minutes here left on the round. We're just going to have a quick little look here at the standings. So we do see now, and it is early days, so I guess just having a look at the standings might not be as relevant for some. But it is nice to see that we do have a Haunch Crow being 1-0, a Beedrill being 1-0. We do see a Crustle being 1-0. And especially from seeing earlier on that, once again, Dragapult is number 1 in the play rate, that Crustle does make sense. The exact same with good old Gareth Chomps taking the first win. We do see an Arcaludon, the Dunsparce. It's very interesting. And it is kind of nice to see this archetype kind of come back into relevancy, or becoming relevant. Especially now, we do see no Philippe. That's very interesting. The same with Prism Energy, so it's a very interesting take. But they do have the Explorer's Guidance, which I do think is a very good card. Getting to basically look at the top 6, keep 2, bin 4. And then good old Scoop Up Cyclone. That is a very good A-spec for the deck. Just basically getting to say, okay, pick up a Pokemon, saving yourself. Now the 2 Hammers is interesting. The Full Metal Lab is interesting. Basically just taking it to where your Metal Pokemon are going to take 30 less damage. And I have 1 Carmine, so if they get to go first and they have a bad hand, they can Ultra Ball for Meowth and say, okay, I want to ditch my hand and try again. So very, very interesting to see. We do have a Typhlosion at 1-0, very nice to see. We do have Manectric Eels at 1-0, very interesting. We have a Terra build of it with the Miraidon. Oh, very interesting. But it does make sense. I am curious to see that when Pitch Black comes out. Now it is cool to see Mega Manectric do well at the moment, but with the fact that in the next set Pitch Black we get a baby Manectric that has potential also. It'll be interesting to see how this kind of archetype comes back into play, or if it does become relevant, because we have the electric with the Dino Motor basically getting to take a lightning energy from the discard, put it onto one of your benched lightning Pokemon, or sorry, just any of your bench Pokemon, and then you have Manectric where you get to stream the stream 330 damage if you discard all the energies. So there is some nice synergy there coming along. So it is very interesting. And then we have the Miraidon to just have the Noctowl engine, but we do also get to do a lot more damage if the opponent is an EX. So it is very interesting. And then we do have the Canary, which is one of the newer supporters. Basically just getting to set up the deck by getting your 4 lightning Pokemon and put them into hand. So it is nice that you have the synergy here of Buddy Poffin getting the electrics and the Dynamos, or even a Fan Rotom, so that you can use the Fan Call to get out the Hoot Hoots and the Noctowls, and then just saying turn 2 Canary, right, I'm going to get the Miraidon, the Mega Metric, and you can get like electrics and stuff, and you can just get going. You can be swinging turn 2 potentially. And it does sound nice. But we do unfortunately see a 1-0 drop here. That is unfortunate to see. Yeah. And then we do also get to see Starmie being 1-0. Very interesting just to see some unfamiliar archetypes performing well early on. Getting to let them shine a little bit, you know, because we are probably going to have some Dragapults do well. Hopefully we do get to see some Slowking do well. Fair play to Brendan Cameraman after getting to the finals in Turin. But also Slowking potentially being a very good play now for NAIC. You never know. We'll have to wait and see what happens in the next week. Something could drastically shift after the NA players seeing what's going on here over in Europe. But we do see here a baby Glalie getting to just do more damage as a revenge. Just saying, oh, okay, I get to do more because you're already damaged. Which does sound fun. Especially in combination of the Frostlass just getting to do some ticks, or the Starmie getting to hit. Anything else that's interesting? We do have our standard Lucarios, Bolts, Pults. We'll have a look at the Typhlosion then while we're waiting. So here we do see the Typhlosion Drakloak. Basically just getting to, as we kind of saw with the Gourgeist player, using the Drakloak just as a draw engine rather than an attacker. But we have Typhlosion getting to do more damage for each of the Ethan's adventures in the discard. And the Ethan's adventure just basically getting to get any combination, any 3 in combination of Ethan's Pokemon or Fire Energy. So it does have good synergy here. And then we see the Victinis getting to do an extra 10 damage for each one of them in play. We do see 3 Brave Bangles compared to the usual 2. That is nice, a little bit more agency, getting to see things. And we do have round 3 up. So we'll get you a game momentarily. Okay, and we are back. We're just joining a little bit late here. There was a another game we were trying to get, but their opponent did not check in. So hopefully next round we'll be able to get their POV. But here we do see once again the Gorgeist player up against a Gardevoir. I am a big fan of this, but it is interesting to see what will happen. So just getting to do some recon directives. So from the Gardevoir side, kind of basically building like on the older version of Gardevoir, but we do have one Frillish, one Elgium as a control style. We do see Prime Catcher and Red Card. We do get to see Meowth, along with some Prism Energies, so that you can use Monkey Dory. So this is very interesting now. I'm curious to see how this will fare out for them. So I get to see Rare Candy here into the Mega Gardevoir. So Mega Gardevoir either getting to search your deck for basic Psychic Energy and attach it to Pokemon, or they get to do 50 times the amount of energy attached, or Psychic Energy attached to all of your Pokemon, which including the Prism Energies, because it's every type of energy when on a basic, will count. So here, as I was saying, we just got to flood the board with some Psychic Energies, so now getting to do 300. That is a very scary number. That, I guess, in combination of Wally's Compassion, as I was saying there in the last round, with the Lopunny player just getting to basically pick up and heal. So this is very interesting. So here we see from the Drakloak side, getting to do some recon directives once again. Eyeing up the boss here, fair enough. Targeting the Curlia, fair enough. Once again, just trying to make sure it doesn't evolve into a Gardevoir. Trying to force those rare candies being played. Also weakening the damage output from the Mega Gardevoir side, so that is nice to see. But it is actually interesting that in the damage output side from the Mega Gardevoir, that if it is ever hit, that the opponent can just attach a Prism to the Monkey Dory and basically just saying, oh, I get to do now an extra 30, which that can sometimes matter, especially once we're seeing here with the Gorgeist, that the fact that Gardevoir needs either 6 energy or 5 and a Monkey Dory with Dark. So that is cool to see. Seeing Banette being promoted here, very interesting. We could see the hand control coming into play here with Unfair Stamp in combination of Banette's first attack. Basically just saying, okay, those 2 cards now, they get shuffled into the deck. You have nothing. But there would unfortunately be enough damage being put into play. Now, we do see the handheld fan being grabbed here, so it would be funny, because then you just get to move that telepathic energy off the Mega Gardevoir onto something like probably the Monkey Dory. Basically just saying, oh, okay, I get to buy myself a turn while you're doing nothing most likely next turn. And then swinging with Gorgeist, getting to do 140. And discarding the card that they're going to top deck. Unless they play it. So this is very funny to see. Top deck being the boss. Very unfortunate. So then we do see here that even with the Banette controlling the hand, that unfortunately won't be enough. And then fair enough, just saying, I'm going to pass. I'll let you do what you want to do. I'll let you take a final knockout here. Telepathic, once again, getting to the energy as I thought. Makes sense, putting it on the Monkey Dory. But unfortunately a little bit too late. Okay, so we have 18 minutes waiting on our next round. That is a fair bit of time. So once again, we'll just have a quick little look at what is performing well. So as I showed already off last round, oh sorry, in the meantime, I would like to thank Bedrooms for the follow and GamerSam8588 for the follow. But as we are starting to see here now, as the rounds progress, that we are starting to see a good few Dragapults doing well. We have basically one of each showing up in the top 7 players. We have the standard straight pult with the hammers. Do love to see some flipping of coins. If heads, getting to remove an energy, getting to control the board, whilst also potentially controlling the hand between red card and unfair stamp. You do love to see it. We see Dusknoir getting to basically control the board whilst taking extra prizes. Why is my... Apologies for that. Why is it? Okay, it does not want to move down. That's very funny. But yeah, basically then with the Dusknoir, if you let it knock itself out through the ability Curse Blast, you get to do either 50 if it's the Dusclops or 130 if it's the Dusknoir. So good synergy there between Dragapult EX, and we do see the 2 rare candy basically just getting to say, oh okay, I can get this out pretty easily. And it is nice that you can basically also just go, theoretically, turn 2 swing between a Dusknoir and a Dragapult if you can get energy off early on or use the Crispin. But also we do see with the Dusclops Dusknoir, we do see the combination of Rose's Encouragement. So we do have some good synergy there also, to where if you're behind, you get to do 2 energy from the discard and put it onto one of your stage 2. Then we get to see the Blaziken version. Okay, and I can't move down my screen this time. That's good. We do see the cape also. Okay, so this is very cool to see. We get to see a lot more new cards now from Chaos Rising. So the Blaziken basically getting to say that once per turn, you can take an energy from the discard, put it onto one of your Pokemon. And then also it is a good attacker, so against, say for example, Lily's Clefairy, where it basically makes it to where Dragon weakness is now, or Dragon Pokemon are Psychic weak. Blaziken can basically just say, no, I'm not going to attack with Dragapult at the moment, I'm going to attack with this, and I get to do 200 for the cost of not attacking next turn. Besides the usual one-away draw with the ability with the Dunsparce. But we do have Hero's Cape as the ace-spec of choice, basically just saying that the Pokemon has an extra 100 health. Having a big Blaziken or a big Dragapult, that does sound nice. Or even just protecting Meowth or Fez if they get attacked early on. The standard 3 rare candy then, but then we do also have Prism Tower. And this is what I was saying earlier when I was showing off the Arcalodon. I actually do think this is very good synergy wise with Arcalodon in the way that you get to discard 2 cards from your hand and draw a card. So you get to do discarding 2 metal energy and then evolve into from Duraludon to Arcalodon, getting to accelerate 2 metal energy from the discard to a Pokemon of your choice. And then we have the Dunsparce build, which is starting to go up and down in play rate. But over in North America, it has been starting to show a lot more play in combination with the Crushing Hammers after Mateusz won Prague with it. So once again, just basically getting to play board manipulation simulator of between the Crushing Hammers removing energy and basically getting to set up with Dragapult. So it is very interesting to see. And then we do have a Slowking here at 2-0. So it does potentially look like it's very similar to Brennan Cameraman's list. The only difference is that we do see a Shaman, so having a mirror tech, that is pretty funny. And then we have Prime over Box, and then we have Hilda over Surfer, to my understanding anyways. We do also see the addition of the second Metagross. That is pretty nice. So basically having a hybrid style here of Slowking to where it doesn't matter whether you go first or second. You can either go first and potentially draw some cards with Kangaskhan, getting to draw 2 when it's in the active once per turn. Or if you're going second, you can smooch them for free because it's baby Pokemon, and getting to accelerate some Psychic Energy to one of your Pokemon that are on the bench. Does sound pretty nice. Then we have a Lucario here, 2-0. We do get to see even the Wally here. Wally showing up in a lot of the Mega decks is a good card. Once again, just being able to see, okay, if I'm about to be knocked out next turn, I could just be like, no, I'm going to heal. A message here from SS Smith asking about the audio. There should be audio. I just have it to where for if you mean audio is in background music, no, we currently do not have background music. For the just setting it up for the initial time. But hopefully we will be looking into background music. So thank you for bringing that to light. Oh, it is just very cool. Oh, okay, that's very interesting because I have the mic. I have the mic right in front of me, so you should be able to hear me. Apologies about that. We'll look into that then. Going forward for next time. So thank you again for bringing that forward. Just make a note of that here. You in this tournament and stream, what's up? Yeah, no, not much. Yeah, no, this is for me also. This is the first time that I'm streaming fully on my own. So again, thank you for the feedback, and thank you SM Smith for the follow. I do appreciate it. Again, we'll be working out all the kinks. So again, thank you for your feedback. We will be trying to make sure that hopefully from going forward that things do kind of start getting all the kinks worked out. But yeah, so as I was saying here with the Lucario, basically just having the Wallet's Compassion, that you get to basically just save yourself if you're about to get knocked out. And then Lucario getting to do 130 and then choosing up to 3 energy from the discard, being accelerated to the bench in any way you like. So that is a very good combination of you get to do 130 and then set up the Hariyama, which the Hariyama is boss as an ability, which is huge, and then also getting to do 210 damage for 3 fighting in, but at the cost of taking 70 damage in return. Again, this does have a very good, not very good, but it is favored into Pult if you get going, because you have the whole Soul Rock Lunatone combo as the draw engine. You have Hariyama as the boss, besides playing boss itself, and then you have Lucario just basically getting the setup. But it is a little bit unfortunate that because Dragapult is also showing up a lot, that you have Clefairy being making things tough, and it is the exact same thing here for Lucario. But yeah. With that, we will be back shortly for the next round. Okay, just a little update. We are currently just waiting on the opponent to check in for one of the other tables. If not, we will go back and we'll show off another round of the Gorgeist player. We do appreciate it. And again, we understand that probably early on it is going to be um, like the odd one or two players that will be streaming. And then hopefully later on, as more and more people do realize, because this was kind of like a little bit of a last minute thing, just making sure that initially was set up. So again, we do appreciate the patience and all the feedback. So we'll be back momentarily. Okay, so we're back. So we do see Gorgeist versus Arcalodon. Getting to get some of the energy here. Basically just saying that, oh, okay, when it evolves, it can take up to 2 metal from the discard and attach it to a Pokemon. Or it's to a metal Pokemon anyway, like, apologies. Um, so here we're just passing it over to Gorgeist. Just having a quick look at the discards, seeing what resources have already been used. Deciding that, oh, okay, I will 0-6 Machination you again, make you to discard down to 3. Which I guess it does make sense, like, Arcalodon does kind of need to keep its hand in order to get to play the game. It is very hand reliant, especially with the combination of the Judges, Lilies, Explorer's Guidance, and especially the Runaway Draw, the Dunsparces. Now, unfortunately here we don't see much of a hand from the Gorgeist player themselves, so just doing a good little petty grudge here once again for additional 10 damage. I mean, it can come up now. This 20 damage can matter because eventually then Gorgeist can do 140 twice, and then it is exact numbers. So it is kind of funny. Here now we just see the Runaway Draw. We see another Drowdon being put down and an Energy. So now do we see a boss knocking out this Latias? No, we just see the Metal Defender taking a knockout instead. So we see the draw just being nothing again, unfortunately. Isn't looking good for the Gorgeist player. I guess once again you can just do Throasic and say, okay, I'm going to make you remove some of your resources. And I guess just retreat into the shop it and say, oh, okay, hopefully you don't have boss. But we do see a boss here getting discarded, so it will be interesting to see if we see another one being kept in the hand. So I assume we will see the Skyliner retreat into Shuppet and then hit for 20. Nothing much else you can do, which is a little bit unfortunate. So I wonder, will we see a boss here from the Archaludon player? We just see the evolve for no reason when there's nothing in the bin. Interesting. But we do see the boss knocking out this Latias, going down to 3. Now we need a big top deck here from Gorgeist. We see a Pokegear. Okay, can we see a Lily off of this? We do see a Lily off this. Okay, we're going. We're cooking. Alright, so fresh new hand. Do we get to do something? We do get to see a stamp here, potentially. Or we could just say that since the opponent hasn't done much. Well, I guess stamp, there's no real point in actually playing the stamp since you're probably just going to Banette anyways, the 3 cards in hand. So I guess it just makes sense to use Telepath, get some more basics out. Nothing new here, just getting to get going. Basically just saying, okay, I'm going to Ultra Ball here. I assume get rid of the Buddy Poffins. Well, we see one at least being selected. And we see a Dreepy here being selected. Okay, interesting. Basically just giving up here on the draw. Very interesting to see. And then just going to go get Banette. They are thinking about the unfair stamp. They are going to play it. Interesting in that we didn't see a Buddy Poffin there being used. We do get to see the Watchtower being taken. That's very good. So basically just saying now, no hand for you. You are in top deck mode. But we will be seeing the knockout here from the Archaludon side. The top deck being in energy. Very funny. We see a top deck of an Ultra Ball. Okay. Deciding what to do here. Just passing, makes sense. We do see a cat here, but unfortunately because of Watchtower not being able to do anything. Just having a quick look at it and being like, yeah, you can't do that. No cat for you. Seeing the Pokepad getting the Dunsparce, once again being like, no, you're not allowed to touch it. You cannot use this. Watchtower says no. But I assume, yes, once again we will see Max Defender. Now, the interesting thing here is we can see the Ultra Ball for the Gorgeist, but because of Relicanth being on the bench there, we could see it to where Archaludon will use the Duraludon's the Duraludon's second attack with Relicanth's ability, basically just saying, oh, okay, I now get to hit you for a lot of damage because you've already hit me for damage. So I wonder if they will do it, but I guess it just makes sense. Like, they have to do something. because I do believe that the Gorgeist will survive even with Relicanth allowing Archaludon to use Duraludon's second attack. Because I believe that's 260 then. Yes, it's 80 plus 10 it looks like. Yeah, 80 plus 10. So it will survive by 10 damage, which is very funny. Now we could see a world here where Archaludon just has nothing now for the rest of the game once this Archaludon's going to get knocked out. Deciding not to bench the Duraludon, that's very interesting. Now I do see a Meowth being grabbed here off the top deck. But unfortunately here we will just be seeing Ghostly Touch taking the knockout. So we need good cards here now from the prize cards. But yeah, very, very interesting to see that we didn't see the Duraludon being put down, because if the opponent top decks a Metal Energy, then it's just GG. Promoting the Archaludon, very interesting. And it was a Metal Energy! No! Oh, they can use the previous because of... Oh my god, I forgot about that. I completely forgot, yeah, about Relicanth. I literally just said this 2 minutes ago. Very unfortunate run here for the Gorgeist player. Very unfortunate. Just having a look up at the standings. Because we are now at the halfway point. I know it does say that it's 3-0, but we are in round 4. So we are taking a look here, and we do have a good few 3-0s lining up here. So we have 12 3-0s, so we're probably going to go to 6 4-0s after this. We did see from, compared to last round, a lot of the Dragapult players that we saw previously at 2-0. Some of them did lose, some of them did win. And what have we not looked at here? We haven't looked at Bolt. Bolt is 3-0. We'll see how they're getting on. So very standard Bolt list here. We have seen the Passimian come back into it, basically getting to do a lot of damage depending on how many basic Pokemon you have in play. This does combo very well with combination of either Teal Dance or Wellspring Ogerpon in combination with Area Zero. Basically having a bench limit of 8 rather than 5. And then you can do kind of like board wiping plays with the Chien-Pao, getting to bench it, remove Area Zero, and then basically if you have benched Pokemon that have damage, you basically just say, okay, depending on how many benched Pokemon you already have, but before the Chien-Pao Area Zero removal combo, basically just saying, okay, I get to undo all the work you're after doing, which that can come in handy at times. It can win you games, basically by being a Hail Mary, which is very nice to see. One moment. Why is it not letting me? Here we go. Yeah, so we currently have 13 minutes. Yeah, 13 minutes with 5 games remaining, so not too bad. We have a couple of 2-1s playing it out. We have another table at 2-1 playing it out. So it's not too bad. We do have a festival lead at 2-1. We do get to see the growing grass energy, getting to basically have another 20 health for the grass Pokemon it's attached to. And then we have the Lilligant. The Lilligant, which I am a big fan of, basically just getting to say that your grass Pokemon and fire Pokemon do an extra 20 damage. And because Diplin with the Festival lead, if you have Festival Grounds in play, getting to attack twice, that is huge. And if you have Lilligant in play, that's essentially an extra 40 damage. It does mean that then if you have a bench of 4 Pokemon, one of them being Lilligant over the traditional 5, you still can do the Black Belt Brave Bango combo to knock out a Dragapult EX for example. And then speaking of Dragapult EX, we do have the 1/1 Rabska line, basically just saying that okay, ignore effects of damage or the effects of attacks done to your benched Pokemon. So basically, Dragapult cannot sprinkle damage onto your bench if this is in play. Very fun. The same with Psyduck, basically just saying that Pokemon like Dusclops and Dusknoir can't use their abilities onto your Pokemon that are on the bench. It is very fun. Or they can't even, sorry, they can't use it at all. So it is very nice to see. We do see the Tool Scrapper. Tool Scrapper is interesting. I don't believe it's popped up as much in the meta, especially because it might not be as necessary. And then we do see a Mega Greninja here at 2/1. It is the Dunsparce build with a 1/1 Mega Frostlass. Very interesting. And then we do see the Surfing Beach. Surfing Beach, nothing new. It's a very good stadium. Basically just getting to say that you get to switch the water Pokemon from the active with water Pokemon on the bench. We do see Mega Greninja kind of having a combination of both Greninja from the X and Y era, where you get to do more damage if you put an energy back into hand as the attack, or the Greninja Break, where you get to discard a water energy when this is in the active and do 6 damage counters to one of your opponent's Pokemon. And then we get to see Mega Frostlass, which it is nice to see this kind of, I guess, having a little bit kind of like more hand control in the way, or hand punish, in the way that the first attack does 50 damage for each card in your opponent's hand. So if they have a big hand, you can do a lot of damage. That does sound nice. Or you get to do 150, which does sound nice, but more importantly, your opponent goes to sleep. And basically how sleep works is they have to flip a coin in between turns. If it's heads, they wake up. If it's tails, that Pokemon stays asleep. And like in real life, if you're asleep, you're probably not moving. You're not getting to do much. So it is interesting to see that as a option. The games are after finishing up there, so we'll probably have the next round momentarily. So with that, we'll be back once we have a game for you. Okay, and we're back. So here we have Megalopony to Dunsparce. versus Raging Bolt. So Megalopony, as I mentioned earlier, you get to do a lot of damage if you switch from the bench to the active this turn. And then also we have Raging Bolt, where they get to do more damage for each energy they discard from the board. So it will be interesting to see. The Raging Bolt player list is like, it's very standard, nothing new. The only difference is it's 4 Mega Kangaskhan, 2 Meowth compared to the traditional 3-3 or 4 Kang, 3 Meowth. We do see the inclusion of the second Raging Bolt. That is nice to see. I've been seeing some lists playing 1 and it is a little bit funny. But we do see 9 Grass Energy. Very interesting. So we will get to see hopefully some Teal dances occurring. And then from the Megalopony side, once again, they have the Cornerstone Ogerpon, basically saying that if your opponent's Pokemon has an ability, they can't attack. Or sorry, they can't attack the Cornerstone unless like it has Shred or anything like that. So as I was saying earlier, with Megalopony's second attack, Skyhopper, where it goes through effects of attacks. Now obviously Megalopony doesn't have an ability, but if it did, Skyhopper would go through it. But yeah, so hopefully now we will be... It does seem that on paper, Raging Bolt is a little bit more favored, especially because they can just do a lot of damage. Like if they get 5 energy in play, they can just blow up a Megalopony. And all they gotta do is just do that twice. And that is a little bit scary. That is a little bit scary. But yeah, here we see now from the Bolt side, just getting to get set up here. Oh, okay. Why? Huh? Why is it not letting me in? Apologies about that. So, yes, as usual, we saw Raging Bolt take a knockout there. Now, unfortunately, it was the Megalopony was the only Pokemon, so it did have to be promoted. So attaching energy here and only doing 60 damage may not seem as relevant, but actually it does still make sense in the way that next turn, if Raging Bolt cannot get 3 additional energies, which, let's be honest, they should be able to, hopefully. But if they can't, then the Megalopony player can just retreat into a fresh Megalopony. Okay, never mind, they did actually bring it up. They used a runaway draw. Apologies. I thought they hadn't. But if they hadn't and they just did 60, this is what I get now for trying to straighten up the screen, but it is what it is. But basically, that the fact that if they'd done just initially the 60 damage instead of the 230, it just meant that next turn they could retreat with Air Balloon into a fresh Lopunny and then just knock it out. So we do get to see here the board being set up. Now, unfortunately, not seeing the fifth energy here between attaching and the teal dance. So it's just going to be a pass. We see the evolving of the Megalopony here and grabbing 2 more Dunsparces so that we can loop and chain this 230 damage. Does sound nice. We do see here a spiky energy being put onto the benched Megalopony. So again, if that Pokemon is attacked or knocked out, 20 damage will be put onto the defending Pokemon. So they could potentially, to which we are most likely going to see, the fact that Lily was played as the supporter for turn, that they just retreat into the fresh Megalopony, hit the Kangaskhan for 230. Now, if the Raging Bolt just goes and knocks out this Megalopony, well, the Raging Bolt's going to get return knocked out because of Spike Energy, evening up the board a little bit, which that is pretty nice to see. So here we just see a teal dance getting to get more energy in play, which we do love to see. Hopefully we can see another grass energy onto... no, we just see the attach actually to the Kangaskhan. Very interesting. I was hoping we were going to see a grass energy onto the Tiamat's Ogerpon so that we can see the spike energy come and hit that. But we unfortunately don't see that. And we just see the knockout to which the spike energy is going to come back. Oh, but no, we do see the boss get the other Megalopony instead. Huge dodge here now from the boat player. Now it'll be very interesting for the Pokemon. So here we just see the Ultra Ball just getting to set up. Worst case scenario, they do just hit for 60, which is still a knockout. We do love to see it. And we do see the knockout here on the Raging Bolts, making it 2-4. So it will be interesting to see here if the Raging Bolt player can get a knockout. So we see the Mega Kangaskhan here being loaded up with some energy. I guess they can go for the Hail Mary of trying to get the 1 in 8 of 3 heads. It would be legendary if they did it. The 12.5% odds, I believe, of getting the 3 heads would be very nice. And then they will win the game on the spot. Does look like they're going to try for it. And we just see a tails. Very unfortunate. So we see the 200. But the spiky energy coming back and putting 20 on is funny. Does technically mean that they could not just heal, but they could also, rather than the Lopunny becoming a threat, they could Pokepad. Okay, we're not going to see it anyways. But they could have done Pokepad, grab Fan Rotom, because there is a stadium in play, and then just knock out with Fan Rotom, which is very funny. But I guess it does mean that the Raging Bull player could just go for 2 one-prize knockouts. So I do see the merit in them not doing it. But it is a little bit scary still that I guess they could just bait, because Wellspring Ogerpon could technically trap something in the active for a little bit. So it will be interesting to see what will happen. So now going from 2-4 to 2-1. And we do see the other Megalopony being grabbed off the prizes. That is huge. So it will be very interesting to see here now from the Raging Bull player. So we see a Meowth here getting the search deck for a supporter. So we just see the pass coming into Megalopony. Now we do see a boss's orders in hand, and we know that they have another Megalopony, so this is just game. And we get to see a win here for the Megalopony, the Dunsparce player. And yeah, we see the boss bring up the teal mask, and that is game. With that, we will be back momentarily. And we are back. We are currently going into round 6, just waiting for a game to show up, and then we'll hopefully have one for you guys. So just bear with us now a few moments, and we'll have another game for you. Okay, so we have Megalopony, what looks like to be versus Mewtwo. I'll just confirm that now, one moment. Yes, it is Rocket's Mewtwo. So Rocket's having a very good engine in regards to the supporter line. They get to do a lot of different things. Now, I do see a one of Hilda in this list. That's very interesting. So we do see the Megalopony player getting out the Dunsparce here with the Pokepad. Just setting up for next turn, why not? Since they can grab a Megalopony off of the Hilda. So we do see here the Spidops showing up with Giovanni, basically a Team Rocket's only version of Guzma, in the way that you get to bring up one of your opponent's Pokemon and you get to switch with one of your Team Rockets. So no surprise here, we get to see the evolving into the Dunsparce, and off the Hilda we see a Spiky Energy. Apologies. We see the Spiky Energy and Megalopony. So we get to see the runaway draw into the Megalopony being promoted, I assume. And then we get to smack for a lot of damage, knocking out the Tarantula. So we see the evolving here into the Spidops, and we get to see the Team Rocket's Articuno getting benched, basically saying that all your basic Team Rocket's Pokemon have a Mist Energy automatically built onto them, which is very funny. So we just see the ability being used, and we see a Team Rocket's energy getting attached onto the Mewtwo, basically saying that, oh, okay, a double psychic or double dark, in this case it'll be a double psychic, gets put onto the Mewtwo. So here from the Megalopony player, just deciding what to do. Since they're doing 60 as base damage, it makes sense to just Hilda, set up the board. So they basically now also bench down the Cornerstone. Simply the fact that without the Spidops being put into play, only the Mimikyu can hit it for 140, or the Tarantula can hit it for weakness. Now, it is a little bit risky, I think, still putting it down, because the Cornerstone is weak to grass, and Tarantula with just a hit and then a second hit with a max belt can two-shot the Cornerstone. So it is a little bit interesting to see that they're going to go with it, since the fact that they could just go with the lone Megalopony and then just start swinging and healing. But yeah, so we are just seeing here what they're thinking of doing. I wouldn't be shocked if they go and grab a Baniri, to which we do see that themselves. Going to put it down, and I assume they're just going to attach with it to have it ready for next turn, so that if they don't want to do 230, they can do 160. And no surprise here, we get to see the attack for 60. Getting to take the enrichment energy off the prizes, very good. Basically getting to attach to a Pokemon and get to draw 4 cards. It's very strong, especially when you loop it with the Dunsparce's Runaway Draw. Essentially, for that turn you get to draw 7. It is very fun to see. Now we do see the Ariana, because they have all Rocket's Pokemon in play, they get to draw up to 8 rather than 5. And in the bug catching set, looking at the top 7, taking any 2 in combination of grass Pokemon and basic grass energy. So we get to see the maximum belt here in combination with there being enough Pokemon in play. So Mewtwo will get to OHKO the Megalopony, which is a little bit unfortunate to see. But the Spike Energy putting 20 on it, that is nice. Seeing the top deck in here of the Baniri. Now we do have a boss in hand, so that is good. That we can see them dig with the enriching energy and hopefully a runaway draw. But we see an Ultra Ball anyway, so they can just Ultra Ball for the Lopunny and then go boss, knock out that Spidops. Since that is a threat of basically saying, oh, okay, you could do double Spidops ability, getting once per turn for each Spidops in play. You can take a basic energy from the discard and attach it to it. And then we could just see it happen all over again, where Mewtwo just OHKOs a Megalopony. So I do think going here for the Spidops is correct. Thinking here about the Hilda, it's interesting. Yeah, we do see the promotion here. And now we do see the line up the boss. Very good, very good. Basically now just saying, oh, okay, you now need Spidops and energy. Now they could still have a Team Rocket's energy in hand. That would also do the exact same thing. But they already have one in play. So they'd have to Hilda, or they'd have to Raw Dog it in hand. So let's see what happens. So we see the Spidops. And we do see, unfortunately, an energy. So we will see the knockout here. It is a little bit unfortunate, but it happens. Seven. Someone just finished up a game there. 7 games left with 17 minutes. I guess we can have a quick little look here at what's doing well. So we do see here that Zoroark is top seed going into this round, the penultimate round, with Zoroark. Then we do see Garchomp, Bolt, also at 5-0. So we'll have at least one 6-0, I assume, going into after this round, going into round 7, which means if they wanted, they could ID intentionally draw and lock up top 8. Because we do have it that top 8 gets at least 4 codes. And then if you win, you get a big 20. That is nice. And then we have a lot of 4-1s here playing it out for a 5-1 spot. Trying to potentially then win this round and next round to be 6-1 and guarantee top 8. Because it is looking like, numbers-wise, that a 5-1-1 could get top 8. It's not guaranteed. And then 6-0 should be guaranteed. Or sorry, 6-1, sorry, should be guaranteed. But there is a world where we have a 7-0. We could theoretically have 2 6-0s this round going into next round, and then there being probably a guaranteed 7-0. Or there's a world where the 5-0 that gets down paired this round loses, and then we have 1 6-0, they win next round, and then that's it. They're the guaranteed winner of the lovely 20 codes. But we will just have to wait and see. So that will be back momentarily with another game. Okay, and we are back for one last round. Once again, we have Gorgeist. Let's have a look now and see what they're against. They are against Mega Greninja. And it is the Dunsparce build with a Shaman and a Psyduck. We do also see a Tool Scrapper, which is pretty interesting. Especially then, I guess, if they could find a Tool Scrapper at the right time to remove the handheld fans on either the Gorgeist or the Banette. We do see, once again, 2 stadiums, so it could be the case of where the they could just have the case of that the watchtowers stick and then they can't get it to where it'll happen. So here we see the Buddy Poffins getting out a Dreepy and a Pumpkaboo. And just a pass. So from the Greninja side here now, just having a look at seeing what is available. We do have 3 rare candies, so there is a world where they could go Hilda, Neo Upper, and grab Mega Greninja, and then hit for a lot of damage and put the energy back in hand. Because that would resolve before doing the effect of the handheld fan. So here we see Runaway Draw. Hopefully we get a rare candy here. We do see the Hilda. You see Ultra Ball here now. Not much is happening at the moment. Oh, never mind. It did fix itself. That's good. At first, it looks like it could have been a disconnect for a moment. We do see them evolve into the Terra Greninja. Very interesting to see. I guess the fact that they know, even still with weakness, that they can't be knocked out. So basically now they get to hit for 170, 140 with it being resistant to fighting. Getting to then set up and find a card of their choice. So it'll be very interesting to see what they grab. Now, it is funny that the Banette technically gets to shuffle back in 3 cards. So it could have been the case where they just grab a Lily for next turn. Could have been the case where they grab like just an energy to have. Never know, we'll find out. But here we see a Recon Directive for the Pokegear. Taking a Lily, understandable. Need to see some cards. We do see the Telepath but instead seeing them attach to the Banette with the regular psychic energy. We do see unfair stamp, so they could unfair stamp, basically just undoing what they're after doing there, which we do see. And then those two cards getting shuffled right back into the deck. So you see top deck, big top deck here from the Greninja player, and we just see a pass. So now Banette getting to do what it likes to do, where they just get to set up, and in the meantime, just say that one card goes back in the deck. You can't do anything. You're stuck here. Now, the only thing is, since there is only one basic on the opponent's bench, they can eventually get Lily's Clefairy in play, but it's still 280. So it's still just a little bit shy. If there was another basic Pokemon on the opponent's field, then we could see some real numbers being hit, and it would be nice. So here we see the Gourgeist coming into play with the Wondrous Patch. We're probably going to see the Retreat, to which we do. And now Gourgeist getting hit for 280 because of weakness, and basically discarding that one card the opponent has in hand. So we do see the top deck here be a Buddy Poffin. That is pretty nice. And then we just pass it back over, which is nothing new because the one card they had in play was used. So here we see the knockout. Going to take two very nice prizes. So we get to see flip the script here, getting to basically draw an additional 3 cards. See the manual evolve into Frogadier. So not much is now going to be happening. But we do unfortunately see a Meowth in hand. So even if Dracloak doesn't find it, which we do find a Pokegear, I assume then we'll have Meowth come down and get out a good old boss's orders to knock out. And yeah, we're going to see a good old knockout here and discarding another card from the opponent's hand, which is very funny to see. But it is going to be a lot of back and forth here from the Gourgeist, especially because the Greninja player doesn't have much of a board set up now at the moment. And we do see a Froakie, and instead we see the attach onto the Pheasantipity, followed up by a Lily. So we are finally getting to see some cards being drawn here from the Greninja side. We do love to see it. Shame in being benched. That's interesting. So here we see this Earlsic coming down. Basically just being like, oh, okay, you have too many cards in hand. I'm more comfortable with you having a smaller hand. So here we see Recon Directive once again. Just seeing some more cards, deciding what to do. And we're going to see another knockout here, discarding another card. And we do see the discard of a Greninja, which is very funny. So we see the Fez being promoted, so they probably do have an energy in hand, meaning that they could hit the active for 200 because of weakness, which is nice to see. See the Ultra Ball here. Getting rid of a boss, okay. For a good old Meowth. So Meowth for Lilies, fair enough. Look at to Lilies, draw to 6, and then they have Fez drawing them up to 9. It is nice to see. So we're to see again Recon Directive. Just getting to thin the hand and decide what to grab. And once again, just saying no, discard your hand down to 3. I don't like you having a big hand. So getting rid of the Frogadier, that makes sense. Getting to see a hit here for 140. Discarding another Greninja. Just saying, you know what, all these cards, I can't get Froakie out. Doesn't matter anyways. Yeah, so that is very funny. So here we see a Hilda now from the Greninja side. Will be interesting to see what happens here because we do have Meowth in hand already. Meaning that it is just game. Since Meowth will get good old Boss's Orders. And Boss's Orders for game is a fun play. So this retreat into the Dunsparce, it will be taking a knockout, going down to 3 prizes. But it is unfortunately a little bit too late. Gorgai Spinette was able to buy enough time and take a win in the final round of today's tournament. So slamming down the Meowth. Getting to say, okay, I want a supporter. And lo and behold, shocker, it is Boss's Orders. And the opponent concedes, which is very understandable. So we currently have 4 matches remaining. But we did have two people at 6-0, Veno MX and Xeon. And Veno MX did take the win. So Raging Bolt is our winner today at 7-0. Do love to see it. Now, we do obviously have to wait for the final standings to become official for the round to end, but there is only going to be one 7-0, so I don't have to be like, oh, do I have to wait? This is our winner for this evening. Do love to see it. Very standard Bolt list. As I was mentioned earlier on, we have the Simeon that some people are playing at the moment, some people aren't. And then we have the second Raging Bolt over the one, which we have seen in some lists. So that is nice to see. And then currently now we are also just waiting for some other matches to finish up. Some 4-2s getting into 5-2, potentially sneaking into top 8, but I assume it would be anyone that's like 5-1-1, because at the moment here we have our winner at 7-0, then we have at least two 6-1s. There's a 5-1 match playing now currently at table 2, and then we have so if that one wins, we'll have 3 6-1s, and then we have 4 5-2s coming down to resistance. So the 5-2s not deciding to ID, or the 5-1s deciding to ID. Or sorry, apologies again. I said it right the first time. The 5-2s deciding to ID. But we do also have Xeon being 6-1. So it will be interesting to see who gets bumped out of our top 8 bracket. And we do have one of those matches finishing, concluding our round. So now we just officially have to wait for our standings to be finalized. But first seed is going to be Veno MX, and then our top 4 is going to be Deli Cheese, PKMN, Maternate, Rojo 313 for top 4. Just depends on standing, who's going to come second, who's going to come top 4. And then we have a lot of 5-2s fighting it out here for top 8, depending on resistance. We have Chatter 99, Smith Games, Chomizek, Ferdias D, Ashton M, Kieran at the Pool, XPRT Clan, and Gillyfit. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 of them. So 4. Oh, sorry. And then also we have at 5-2 we have Pasindwich, Jogurt Jacob, and Fishy Eddie. So we have 11 5-2s. Apologies. And standings have been finalized. So just one moment. Oh, that might be a little bit too big for it. Oh no, it actually does show perfectly. Let's go. So seeing it here, about 0.7% difference there now between Pasindwich and Yogurt Jacob. But yeah, thank you for everyone who had played this evening. No, there is no top cut. Whoever just wins the 6-0 match, apologies, I'm only just seeing that now as Smith TV. Yeah, it is. These are just like just a 7-round tournament. On the details page, normally when you scroll down to the bottom in the tournament structure, this will normally tell you whether there's going to be like a top cut or not. So in this case, it is just 7 rounds. If there was like another phase, like there is at regionals, or there's a top cut, there's normally like a second box here, and it will say like, it could be like those who made phase 2, or it could say top cut, and then it'll be like the 3 rounds or 2 rounds or whatever. If that helps answer your question. But yeah, so again, thank you so much for everyone. Thank you to our lovely staff team that were able to help organize this and make this a thing. Thank you to the judges who were able to help with any judge rulings that happened throughout this evening. My name is Michael Hunter, and thank you so much for showing up. And we'll be back next week. Have a good one.